All right, we're gonna go ahead and kick things off. Thank you all once again for being here. My name is Alex, and I'd love to start off with just a few housekeeping items as we get started in today's webinar. First, when you join, you may see a poll on the screen with a couple basic questions. Go ahead and fill that out. I see many of you already have so far. That's going to help me make sure that I can tailor this session exactly to what you need. And I hear from some folks that I am echoing. Let me give that a try. How's my audio here sounding for folks right now? You can type in the Q&A, or any of my NMS staff members. Let me know if I am still echoing. All right.
Looks like you're good.
I'm good. Thanks very much. So for today's session, we have quite a few of you here. We have several hundred parents here in this webinar tonight. And so you can see we've got a whole group of our staff members here to help answer as many questions as we can get through. To keep this process organized, on the bottom of your Zoom window, you will see a Q&A button. That is the place where you can, at any point during this webinar, ask a question, and our team will do our absolute best to either type a response for you or to answer your question live over this call. So use that Q&A button on the bottom of your screen, and we will do everything we can to answer that question. If we're not able to answer your question during today's session, you can always email us, admissions@nationalmathstars.org, and we're more than happy to help. And I also like to share that this entire webinar is being recorded and will be posted onto YouTube afterwards. And so if you need to rewatch anything or hear something again, don't worry, you can go to YouTube, and within 24 hours or so, we'll have the recording of this webinar up and ready to go. So we've got just under an hour together today, and here's how we're going to spend our time. We're going to start off with a broad overview of National Math Stars and how we've designed our programs. We'll then talk specifically about admissions and selection. Based on that poll, I see about 85% of people currently in this call have already applied. And so I imagine most of you are curious about the admissions and selection process. And then we'll have lots of time at the end to go through some of those open questions and answers. I'm sure if it's a question you have, that at least one other parent on today's call has that same question. And so I encourage you to ask it, and we'll try to make this as productive as it can be. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Alex. I am the head of partnerships and admissions here at National Math Stars, and I am joined by my colleagues, Troy, Keith, and Lex, who will be supporting in the chat and who are an integral piece of everything we can do. National Math Stars overall is a team of several dozen staff spread across the country. This is a team predominantly of former educators, and all of us are committed to serving extraordinary students and making sure they have what they need to thrive. That really pulls us to our mission. If you haven't heard of us or haven't learned much about us, National Math Stars is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to ensure mathematically extraordinary students coming from all communities have the resources they need to reach the frontiers of math and science. So that is the work we do, and that is what motivates us here each and every day. Now, based on the poll at the start of this call, I know many of you have heard of us for the first time because your child brought an award medal home from school or an award letter. This represents just one of the three programs we operate here at National Math Stars. So I'm going to take a bit of time to walk you through our three programs. First, we have our Math Awards program on the left. This is where we partner with state departments of education, school districts, and individual school campuses to recognize and celebrate young students who show extraordinary math aptitude. In addition to that program, we operate two long-term STARS programs. That includes our Pathfinder STARS and our Voyager STARS program. These are selective, competitive programs that look for students demonstrating 1 in 1,000 levels of talent, and both offering long-term supports and resources to help those students develop their talents and thrive over time. We'll talk more about the distinction on these later. And so let's talk about how these programs fit together. If you are here because your child brought home an award letter, that makes them a National Math Star nominee. They probably brought this gold award medal home, an official nomination letter, and a page for you as parents with some frequently asked questions. You now have the opportunity to apply if you've not done so already, or if you have applied already, thank you for your time. And you've entered what will be a competitive admissions process taking place over the summer to help select the students that we ultimately will accept as both our Pathfinder and Voyager stars as part of our 2026 cohort. So this is how our three programs fit together. Now let's talk about the one by one. So if your child came home with an award letter and an award medal, why did that happen? What does that mean? And what should you do about it? Well, our awards program, National Math Stars, partners with schools and districts all over the country. In fact, this year, we are partnered with over 1,000 districts around the country who are committed with us to recognizing and celebrating their extraordinary young mathematicians. Schools use existing test data. So often, this is the end of year test your child takes at school, or any of those standardized tests or gifted, talented screeners during the year. And any student scoring in the top 2% receives that medal, that award letter, and becomes a National Math Star nominee. So if your child brought an award home, this is the story of why. It is because in partnership with their school, district, or your state's Department of Education, we've identified them as performing in the top 2% of peers. Now, these awards are an honor in and of themselves, but they also serve as your entryway towards our STARS program. Let me give you a perspective of scale by looking at last year's number. Last year, we distributed a little over 12,000 awards to amazing students across the country, and a little more than half of those students went on to apply for our programs. From that, we selected just shy of 400 students to become our 2025 stars. So you can see we had more than 250 Pathfinder stars and just over 100 Voyager stars. So all of you here today are starting off on the left side of this screen. Your child is a National Math Star nominee, and you have the opportunity to apply and be considered for our long-term STARS programs. However, let's not place the whole emphasis on being selected as a star. A core part of the work we do, and I can say as a former fifth grade math teacher myself, is trying to create a culture of celebrating and honoring math excellence in all communities. So whether you decide to apply or not apply, and whether you advance or do not advance, we hope that you as parents tonight, tomorrow, next week, at some point over the summer, make sure you take a moment to recognize and celebrate your child for the amazing things they're already doing. Let them know how proud of them you are for the hard work they put in every day that's enabling them to thrive. And we are big believers that that type of celebration can help catapult students' enthusiasm, excitement, and potential in math and science into the future. So regardless of what happens, we really like to emphasize, please celebrate your child for the great things that they're already doing. But now let's talk about our STARS programs. I know this is what many of you are curious to get more info on, so let's dive right on in. As I mentioned, these are competitive. These are what you are applying for when you submit an online application. And so what do our STARS programs entail? The core belief is that extraordinary students need to do more than just excel at elementary school, go to middle school and take some hard math classes in middle school, go to high school, take some hard math classes, graduate, and so on. Our research and our partners have showed us that the pathways to the frontiers of math and science involve excelling at school, but also this range of yellow extracurricular bars that you see on my screen. It's about asking whether your child is exposed to open-ended, ambitious problem solving, or has a community of fellow mathy peers that they can learn from. It's about asking whether your child has enriching summer activities that keeps progressing their learning. And as they get older, whether those can become research and internship opportunities for them to grow their skills. It's about helping your child learn accessory skills in coding, artificial intelligence, and robotics to build on top of what they're doing in math. It's so much more. At National Math Stars, we aim to support you as families in making sure you can access this entire suite of enrichment opportunities to build on top of what's happening at school. This is very important, and I get many questions here. We are not replacing your child's school time. We are not sending them to a different school. We are simply taking what they are already doing at school and building on top of it with extracurricular and supplemental resources to supercharge their learning. We think of breaking our supports into 4 categories: academic development, financial assistance, community, and family advising. These 4 pillars are shared across our Pathfinder and Voyager Stars program. So, what's the difference, you might ask? Well, both programs serve students that perform at that 1 in 1,000 level of math talent. Pathfinder is open to all students who exceed that math bar, while our Voyager program is reserved for families with the greatest level of unmet need, where we've determined significant additional investment is needed to make sure that those students can be on a pathway towards success. So let's make that really concrete. What does that look like in the academic sense? Well, I want you to remember 4 bullet points of what we do academically. Bullet point 1, advanced coursework. If your child received an award, it means they're probably ready for harder math than what they are doing at school. So we support all of our stars with enrolling in advanced math courses on top of what they're doing at school. Often we work with our partners at Art of Problem Solving, but as well as other providers like Russian School of Math and more to get your child advanced coursework. In our Pathfinder program, that includes recommendations and discounts. And for our Voyager Stars, if you have financial need, we can fully fund that experience. The second bullet point, tutoring and mentoring. We believe small group tutoring and mentoring is a powerful way for students to build their mathematical skills. And so we're committed to helping stars in our program access those. Bullet point 3, summer. Summer is such an incredible time. And for students who love math, it can be a tough time to find great opportunities. That's why we commit to supporting all of our stars to participate in a high quality science, technology, engineering, or math, that means STEM, summer experience every year, all 10 years that they're in our program. And bullet point number 4, math competitions. We know that this isn't for every student, but for many students, they like getting competitive and they like having opportunities to push their skills. And we're committed to supporting, helping enroll in, fund, and preparing students for those opportunities if it's something they're interested in. The next category is enrichment or financial assistance. If you are a Pathfinder star, we provide need-based financial aid to make sure money doesn't stand in the way of you saying yes to opportunities. That ranges between approximately $0 and $3,000 per year. If you're a Voyager star and have significant unmet need, in addition to fully funding all of the activities through National Math Stars, we provide you with a supplemental $3,000 annual budget to make sure you can offset the cost of additional resources and enrichment, as well as providing you with laptops, peripherals. We can even do things like internet connection so that you can absolutely participate in our programming. The third pillar of our work is community. I see there are many families on this call, and it's a beautiful thing because when we spoke to families of advanced students around the country, one of the most common themes we hear is that it can be isolating and lonely for students. When your child is 2, 3, maybe even 4 or more years above grade level, They're often the only student in their class, school, or perhaps even district working on that level. And so we believe in recruiting cohorts and having events for those cohorts of students to get to know each other, to become part of a community, growing up together over 10 years, pushing each other, supporting each other, and showing that being mathematically extraordinary is something to be proud of. And the final piece of our program is advising. Let's be honest. We're talking about supporting students who are 7, 8, 9, 10 years old at the start. What that really means is to support them, is to support each of you as parents. That's why we have a team of advisors on our staff that are trained and prepared to help you with any issues you may have. Whether that's looking for great STEM summer camps near where you live, whether that's figuring out how to approach a conversation with your school principal about looking at grade level acceleration for your child, or anything in between, we have a trained team of advisors dedicated to supporting you as parents in your journey to support your children. And so those are the 4 pillars of our program and how we think about our long-term STARS programs. I'm going to pause here and encourage you to open the Q&A section on your webinar. If you have questions about National Math Stars overall or our programs and designs, this is a time to ask those. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to move towards an overview of our admissions and selection process, and I will make sure to cover questions related to admissions and selection very soon. For now, I'd like to prioritize any questions about our program design, or organization overall. And I'm just going to scroll through all the many questions you've already asked and see which ones I can find. Here's a really simple question. Will we receive a copy of this slide deck? We don't share the full slide deck, but the recording of this webinar will be on YouTube, including all of the slides that you've seen today. So you'll be able to find it there. Here's a great question. What is the approximate annual family investment per child for Pathfinder? So this is asking, if I'm a parent, how much do I need to pay to participate in Pathfinder? The answer is clear. Our goal is $0. There may be resources we recommend that have some cost associated with it, but those will be your choice to pursue. But any part of the program that we require, we will make sure that we support you financially in covering the cost for. And so that includes the advanced courseworks and some of the enrichment opportunities we provide. If we're saying you need to do it, we're going to make sure money is not a barrier there. I'm looking for more questions about our programs. Here's a great one. Do we offer scholarships for college? At this point, National Math Stars programming continues through the end of high school and does not continue into college. However, our commitment is to make sure your child has had the resources over those 10 years to become fantastically advanced at math, science, or the STEM path of their interest, so that they're able to independently compete for college acceptance as well as college scholarship. And we feel very confident National Math Stars graduating from our program will have their choice among some of the nation's top universities and colleges to enroll in. I really like this question. Is the tutoring that comes with being accepted into the program going to be online and after school hours? Yes to both parts of this question. Our program, both Voyager and Pathfinder, is delivered primarily virtually. So almost all of our program will take place online, so that whether you live in an urban center or far out in a rural community, you can participate. And yes, most of our programming takes place after school hours. Think about the afternoons, evenings, or on the weekends. That's when most students are spending between 4 to 7 hours per week participating in National Math Stars programming. I'm heading down the list. Does Pathfinder offer free or discounted resources? Yes. We offer support for families to access free advanced math learning opportunities, free or discounted enrichment, as well as a range of opportunities for free and discounted supplemental activities they can pursue. This parent asks, how do you cohort students if they are from all over the country? We do this in a few different ways. First, we have local field trips. And so let's say you live in the greater Austin, San Antonio region within Texas. We might organize a local field trip for students in your region that they can attend and join in together. Actually, just this past week and weekend, we wrapped up a bunch of in-person end of year celebrations that were clustered locally based on where folks are. For our Voyager stars, we also have a once welcome weekend upon acceptance where we fly students and their families or drive them so they can meet up for a weekend in person and get to know each other. And then the final example I'll give is virtually online. We believe in using math mentoring and tutoring in small groups. Those groups meet online, but week after week after week, which over time we believe allows students to really get to know each other and form some form of community, even if they're not living right near each other. Great question here about time commitment. And I like to be crystal clear. We have seen most students in our program spending between 4 to 7 hours per week on National Math Stars programming if they're accepted. That's a lot of time, and we recognize that. That's because our program is really designed for students who truly love and cannot get enough of math. Think about it. If your child loves soccer, you have them go to soccer practice a few times a week. But if your child loves math beyond school, what do? We want to be that resource for you. And that's where we think 4 to 7 hours per week is the right quantity of time. However, that may create conflicts if your child is heavily scheduled. And that's something we would explore with you if you advance as a finalist in our program. I'm looking for a few more questions. Here's a question around why we have two separate programs, Pathfinder and Voyager Stars. Our thesis is simple. We believe across this country, students demonstrating 1 in 1,000 levels of talent and aptitude in math rarely have all of their needs met by their traditional classroom or school environment. We believe all of those students should receive supplemental resources and opportunities to develop their talents over time. All students. However, there is no question that families facing more significant barriers need more support in order to have access to those same opportunities. And we're committed to recognizing that difference, whether that need is financial, whether that need has to do with parent education and awareness, location, or whatever need factor it is. We're committed to helping extraordinary students from all communities thrive by giving them what they need. Here's a question about our organization overall. It asks, who funds National Math Stars? And does National Math Stars feed any particular company, say for recruitment purposes? Who funds National Math Stars? We're funded by a range of private foundations and individuals. You can read more on our website. I think we'd love to shout out our two founding funders, which are Karina Initiatives and the Pollinera Fund. They've been working in the math talent space for many years, and we're thrilled to have their support. We're also supported through gifts from Jeff and Lauren Sanchez Bezos and from other folks across the industry. In terms of a particular company, we are absolutely not steering students in any direction. We want talented students to follow their interests and find their unique contributions to make to the world. We are non-directional with where we want students to go. Our only belief is that all of those pathways in elementary school start with becoming extraordinary at math. It's why one of our first benchmarks is to make sure students are algebra ready as early as possible, because we believe that foundation opens up whatever range of opportunities they'd like to pursue into the future. All right, everyone. When I started that Q&A section, I had about 90 unanswered questions. I have about 190 unanswered questions right now, but I am doing my best. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to flip over and talk briefly about our admissions and selection process, and then I will open up more Q&A time for further questions you have. Just scrolling through the questions I see right now, I believe this is what many of you have questions regarding. And so hopefully I answer many of these questions right now. So let's start big picture. What should you expect for this competitive summer admissions process? Well, this year we are expecting approximately 10,000 applications to be National Math Stars. From there, we're going to select our finalists. We'll have approximately 800 finalists for our Pathfinder program and approximately 500 for our Voyager program. And that will get winnowed down to about 400 Pathfinder stars and about 125 Voyager stars, announced on August 14th. Speaking of timeline, if you already applied, you have this timeline in your email. If you've not already applied, once you apply, you'll get an automatic confirmation with this timeline. But let me walk through it now. You have until the end of June 14th to apply. And the reason for that deadline is on the morning of June 16th, we will release our admissions exam, and you will then have just under 2 weeks to get that exam completed. That allows us to announce finalists on July 1st. Finalists go through additional online virtual screening during the month of July. And that sets our team up to discuss, decide, and announce our accepted class of stars on August 14th, 2026. If you are at risk of forgetting or missing emails from us, I would like to encourage you to set a reminder. In particular, set a reminder June 16th. That's when the admissions exam opens, and June 28th, that is when admissions exams close. So here's that action item and a snapshot of exactly what the email will look like, so there's no confusion. On June 16th, around 9 a.m. Central Time, you will get an email from admissions@nationalmathstars.org with instructions on how to create an account and begin the admissions exam. You can see kind of a snapshot of what that will look like, and that's the key action item for all of you who've already applied. No action needed right now. On the 16th in the morning, you will get this email from us. So you get that exam completed. That exam is what allows us to select finalists. And let me talk to you about how that works. There are 2 ways you can become a finalist. Almost all of our finalists qualify through our admissions exam. This is required for all applicants to complete, and it takes about 2 hours. It's about 25 questions, but there's no official time limit. So if your child needs more time, no issues. And you can even pause. The test will automatically save, and you can resume another day if you want to split this up into 30-minute chunks over a couple of days. This test is virtual, so it can be completed anywhere, anytime, so long as it is submitted by June 28th. And one of the most common questions I get is how to prepare. We recommend no preparation for this exam. We've specifically designed it to measure reasoning and problem-solving skills, not the amount of math content a student has learned, nor the amount of preparation that they've put in. The second way students can qualify as a finalist is via submitted test scores. And I like to put a big asterisk here. Very few students will qualify through this route. almost all students qualify from our admissions exam. However, in rare instances, applicants have existing test scores from school or from independent third-party testing they've completed. And if those scores show truly off the charts performance levels, they are one factor that can boost your child's likelihood of becoming a finalist. Now, this is an opportunity, and on the application, you have a chance to submit these scores. If you receive the scores after submitting, you can email them to us at admissions@nationalmathstars.org. But let me assure you, less than 20% of applicants submit any test scores, and not having test scores will not negatively impact your application. Almost all of our finalists qualify via the admissions exam, and the admissions exam is required regardless of how you hope to advance. So you get the test done, June 28th rolls around, and on July 1st, we're going to notify you on whether or not you're advancing as a finalist, and if so, whether you're being considered as a finalist for our Pathfinder or our Voyager programs. Let me emphasize, the mathematical bar is the same for both programs. There's no lower bar or higher bar for one for another. Same mathematical bar. The decision of which program is simply based on your family's level of unmet need. However, depending on programs, there is a different screening process for our finalists. As a Pathfinder finalist, all we ask is for you to complete a proctored COGAT exam. This is done virtually in collaboration with Northwestern University and their Center for Talent Development. If you're selected as a Voyager finalist, there's that same proctored COGAT exam, but a few additional steps as well. That includes a family interview between our staff and you as parents, a math interview between a member of our math mentoring team and your child, and a formal income verification process. All of these steps are virtual, so if you're traveling or if you're away, that's not an issue. As long as you have access to a computer and internet connection, you can participate in the screening for both finalist steps. And so that helps us begin the narrowing process. We've gone from 10,000 applicants down to 1,300 finalists across both programs, ultimately dropping to just over 500 stars that will be accepted as part of our 2025 cohort. Once again, I'd like to emphasize the timeline for all of you here today. Most urgently is June 16th, when you will get an email from our team inviting you to start the admissions exam, due date June 28th. If you complete that exam, you'll be notified of your finalist status July 1st, and that puts us on track to announce our final accepted cohort of 2026 stars on Friday, August 14th. So that brings me to the end of my section here. There are many questions that have been coming through the Q&A, so I'm just going to start tackling these as quickly as I can. Once again, you can click on the bottom of your screen, click Q&A, ask us in there, and either a member of our team, Troy, Keith, Lex, or myself will do our best to get you an answer as quickly as we can. All right, I see a few questions about income restrictions for our Voyager program. When I talk about unmet need for our Voyager program, that does include family income, but it includes many other factors. And we take a holistic view towards trying to understand a family's level of need, ranging from their school quality, their home location, parental education, income, and more. Therefore, there's no official income cutoff, but I would say if you're making more than $200,000 as a family of four, it's very unlikely you would be accepted as a Voyager star, barring unique circumstances. Let me start tackling some of these. Okay. What will be the exam question pattern? Uh, we don't provide any guidance on how our exam will be structured. We just encourage students try their best, have fun with the process. No need to worry about preparing your exact format. We've designed our test to be the most fair and most accessible that we can. This question asks, is the test proctored? Can it be done at home? And is it open to take yet? All right, three questions. I've got three answers for you. Question one, is the test proctored? The initial exam is not proctored, but we have a range of digital security measures in place. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but that's aimed at preventing things like parental assistance, AI support, or any other unfair advantages. And so we feel good about that. Question two, can the exam be done at home? Yes, it is virtual. If you have a computer or tablet and an internet connection, you can take the exam, whether that's at home, whether that's abroad, wherever you happen to be. Internet and computer is all you need. Question three, is it open to take yet? It is not open to take yet. The test will open on June 16th. Look out for an email from me then. Um, Here's a great question. What capabilities do you need on a computer for that first test? Are speakers, camera, or microphones required? Great question. No. For the first test, all you need is a computer that can access the internet and an internet connection. This could also be an iPad or Android tablet. I will note it is not possible to complete the admissions exam via a phone. So if you're trying to have your child complete the test on a phone, that will not work. If you do not have access to a computer or tablet, we recommend finding a local public library or talking to your child's school about the potential to borrow or use their technology for the test. This question asks, will there be an ID generated for communication to take the test? Yes, all of the information you need will be shared via email on June 16th. How to log in, how to set up an account, what to expect. I will do my best to make that clear for you. And if anything's not clear, just reply to our emails and a member of our team will rapidly get you the answers you need. This question asks, is the exam timed? No, it is not. Our initial admissions exam is not timed. If you progress as a finalist, the COGAT exam is a timed exam. And so that has different considerations. But for the initial exam, it is not timed. Here's a question. Are there any school documents we need to retrieve for the submission? These are optional, but not required. If your child has standardized test scores or gifted talented screening test scores, you're welcome to attach those to your application or email them to us, admissions@nationalmathstars.org, at a later point. However, this is not required, and most applicants do not attach any school documents, so don't be concerned if you don't have any. Here's a question asking me to flip back a few slides to look at last year's uh, funnel of students. So here you go. It asks, what was the split of students accepted via the two versions of the program? So last year we had just under 6,400 applications, from which we selected approximately 257 Pathfinder stars and 102 Voyager stars. This question asks, how is financial need decided? On the initial application, we asked you to self-disclose a household income level. If you progress as a finalist for our Voyager program, which is finance dependent, we will ask for formal income verification. If you're accepted to Pathfinder and you would like to tap in to our need-based financial aid, we will also ask for formal income verification, but that's not required until later on. Here's a question. So, what's next after they do the exam online? How is the winner determined? Very simply, we will look at the scores on this year's exam. Every year, our exam is new. All of the questions and the style and the format are new. And so we will see the average score and we will look for the top performing students to advance as finalists. Our goal is to set the bar so that students within our selection process who demonstrate that level of 1 in 1,000 talent and aptitude advance as finalists. This is a good question. Will we receive the test results? And I actually see that question coming up a few times. Um, your child will not receive the results immediately upon submitting the test. However, all applicants will receive their test score on July 1st when it is announced whether or not they've moved forward as a finalist. I will share that we are not able to release the individual test items, but you will get an overview of your student's performance or your child's performance. It's a great question about our programs. If we don't qualify for financial assistance, do we still get a list of resources in our area? Absolutely. Look, money is one of the barriers that we know stands in many of y'all's way from accessing resources and opportunity, but money is not everything. And we are committed to removing all of the barriers that stand in the way of your child accessing resources and opportunities to grow. So we will absolutely support with finding, enrolling in, looking for, judging, and advocating for resources and opportunities, regardless of your family's level of need, whether you are the highest need or the lowest need family we work with. We are committed to removing the unique barriers you and your child face in their journey to the frontiers of STEM. What to expect on the exam, like number of questions and will they be multiple choice, etc. So let me flip over to that slide. The exam will be about 2 hours for most students. That composes 25 questions. It's a mixture of question types, including multiple choice, fill in the blank, and other question varieties. And we try and make it clear and simple to understand once you're on the site. This question asks how to progress on the program. Will it be communicated to us on email? Yes. Throughout this summer, status updates and action items will be communicated exclusively over email. So you need to make sure if you have applied that you've received our confirmation email. If you did not receive a confirmation email, check your spam folder. Make sure that you've identified our email address as not spam so you receive future communication. And on June 16th, make sure to look out for an email from us inviting you to complete that exam. Here's a question. Are these online sessions for students? What is an example of what they would be doing? Yes, most of our program supports are virtual and online. Let's talk through an example of what that looks like. All students enroll in some form of advanced coursework. Most often, that's in partnership with Art of Problem Solving. So students might enroll in a synchronous, so an instructor-led virtual course that meets for 2 to 3 hours per week. Maybe this is a fourth grade student, but they're enrolled in pre-algebra or algebra after school. And then there's maybe 1-2 hours of homework for that course, depending. Perhaps your child is also using some time during the week to work on an engineering problem that they've been talking about in their mentoring session, or they're just getting creative, trying to build and tinker with different projects on a 3D printer that we help them find and learn how to use. That's just one example of what a prototypical week for students in our program could look like. This question asks, do kids have to commit to a STEM summer camp or other opportunities that are given, or are the enrichment opportunities optional? Two-part answer here. One, we believe that you as parents have the ultimate say on what you want your children to do. So we're not going to force you to send your child to summer camp if it's not something you or they want. Uh, However, we do believe summer is an important time for children to grow their love and abilities in STEM. And so it is something that we encourage, and it's something that we talk to families about. Uh, there are some parts of our program, such as completing the advanced courses, participating in the mentoring, that are required, but there's no strict rule that you have to go to camp or you're out. We don't have strict rules like that. It's a great question. Can you work with school to enhance the learning while at school? Yes. Uh, we think this is one of the most powerful ways parents can support their child's future uh, talent in math and science is working with the school system. One of the role of advisors on our team is to talk and work with parents about exploring things like grade level acceleration. That could be skipping an entire grade or just skipping up a grade only in math class. And there's a variety of flexible options to look at. But that's an example of how we can work with you to change the school day to be more productive for your child. And in other cases, we have wonderful school partners that have worked with us to allow students to pursue their advanced math course online during school hours itself. And so we're always eager to collaborate. And we believe when family, school, and our staff are able to collaborate closely, that yields the best outcomes for students. Here's a great question. In the resources provided after applying, I see some high level math like algebra or coding. Will these be included in the exam for second graders? Our admissions exam is designed to require zero advanced math content knowledge. We do not expect any understanding of math beyond really multiplication. Uh, and we've designed the problems primarily to measure problem solving and reasoning ability. We don't want to measure how many math classes a student has already completed. We want to measure their core talent as a young mathematician. I see two questions here asking to elaborate on how we decide Pathfinder versus Voyager. This is based on looking at all of the factors gathered through your application and admissions process to understand a level of need. So we consider factors such as family income. We consider factors such as parental education level, rurality, so how rural versus urban your home is, school quality. So we have measures to look at your child's school overall performance level, engage that, as well as unique family factors. And that includes things like biggest single parent, et cetera, et cetera. So we try and take a quite holistic view to this question. I see a question. How many nominations are handed out per school year, and how many children nationally are accepted into the program per year? We are growing very rapidly. So this is changing every year. This year, we have distributed more than 20,000 nominations across the 10 states that we currently serve. This year, we plan to accept 525 national math stars from those 10 states. And those numbers will change in future years as we add new states and our service region expands. I love this question. Thank you to one 8-year-old who has joined this evening's call and is asking, what all will she be learning if accepted? Uh, she will be learning a lot of math, a lot of science, and whatever fields interest her. She could look forward to every week being able to participate in math courses that really challenge her, not in a scary, hard way, but in an exciting, fun way. She could look forward to mentoring and tutoring where she gets to work with a fellow group of mathematically extraordinary peers as they puzzle and reason through tricky, hard, open ended, ambitious problems. And she can look forward to having access to a range of enrichment opportunities, community events, and resources where she can pursue all the math and science things that excite her. And a great follow up here. Let's say your child isn't selected. Will camp and resource information be available to them? Yes. Ultimately, we wish we could support all of your children who decide to apply, but there simply are not enough resources for us to do that. However, we are committed to providing all of you, regardless of how far you get, with resources, guidance, and direction to the best of our availability. In fact, when you apply, you will receive an automatic confirmation via email that includes a few places you can already start. One, we have free access through National Math Stars to a website called brilliant.org for online math and science learning. We also have put together a resource doc with a whole bunch of opportunities you can look at that include camp, school year, and other opportunities as well. All right, let me keep looking through some more questions. I'll just pause to say we've got about 8 minutes left in today's webinar. I'm looking at my pool of unanswered questions and answers, and it is climbing. It is now at 281. So I'm doing my best to get back to all of you. Remember, if I can't get you an answer on this call, shoot us an email, admissions@nationalmathstars.org, and we'll help you out as fast as we can. This question asks, when will be the test for the application submitted? Is there any backup date in case of unavailability? We are not able to extend the deadline of June 28th for our admissions exam. You must complete the admissions exam by June 28th if you'd like to be considered as a finalist, because we announce finalists July 1st. And June 28th, right? We only have like 2 days in there. There's no chance to extend. However, we do have early testing options. So if you're going to be traveling in the second half of this month, please send us an email and we can get you access to the test a little bit early if you have demonstrated barriers that prevent you from being able to complete it during the main window. This question, will parents receive questions and answers to the admissions exam? We do not release the individual test items, but we will make sure to release your child's score and some supplemental information to help you understand it. This question asks, what's the percentage that parents in Voyager will need to pay? Easy answer here, $0. To participate in National Math Stars is free. We are a nonprofit, a charity, and that means we are funded entirely by donors who support our work. We never charge families to participate in our programming. Voyager is fully free. Pathfinder is fully free. This is a fun one. Any alumni events for previous stars? Well, we absolutely hope so. Founded in 2023. Our oldest stars right now are just in middle school. So they've got a few years to go until they graduate out and become full-on alumni. But it is something we are very excited for, is having students grow up, graduate, do amazing things, and actually come back to be mentors for the next generation of stars coming up behind them. So it's something we're excited about, but it's a little too early in our program to have alumni yet. This question asks, are all courses online and available at any time to accommodate to the child's own schedule? Yes and no. We give families an option of courses to look at and consider, and often there's a bunch of different time slots, but it's not infinite availability. And so you will have to pick one of the times that the courses runs. And so like there might be 4 or 5 different algebra courses running during one semester, and you'd have to pick whichever time works best for your schedule. Another great question here. Once accepted into the program, is there a commitment, or what happens if we don't want to continue? Can we stop? Yes. Our retention rate is extremely high. in the 3 years since starting, our retention rate ranges between 98 and 100% for each cohort. However, if for any reason you or your child wanted to stop participating, you may leave at any time. There's no penalty and no cost. Another really good question here. Does NMS provide the programs directly or just provide links or recommendations to the local program facilities? It's primarily the latter. We mainly exist to connect you and your extraordinary child with existing third-party resources that provide fantastic programming. So primarily we're the connector. However, in areas where we feel like there's not a great resource already in place, such as with our math mentoring, and actually we've struggled with summer camp capacity, so we're running our own summer camp this year. So in rare cases, we run our own programming, but a lot of what we do is connect you as a family with great resources that are already out there and being run. This question asks, is advancement to one of the programs dependent on the assessment that opens on June 12th? The answer is yes, but it is June 16th. So on June 16th, look out for an email from me, and completing the admissions exam is required to be considered for a finalist, regardless of what test scores or other things you've already submitted to here. This question asks, if you cannot commit to the 4 to 7 hours per week, do you get kicked out of the program? I'd like to frame it a little bit more positively. We expect students in our program to be committing between 4 to 7 hours per week because it's something that they want to do. If you're concerned that this is something you or your child are not able or not interested in doing, that's something that we want to talk with you about before you're selected or accept a position in our program, because we want this to be a fit both for you and for us. Another question, what are the criteria to be selected to continue? We look for primarily evidence of extraordinary math talent. We call that 1 in 1,000 levels of talent as demonstrated during our admissions process. And then for our Voyager program, we're also looking at a family's level of unmet need. But primarily, whether you are advanced as a finalist or not, it depends on one thing, and that is your evidence of extraordinary math talent. I've touched on exam proctoring. The initial admissions exam is not proctored, but we have a range of digital security measures in place. Another question here on the admissions exam. Do we choose a time? We're currently abroad for the entire summer. No need to pick a time. You can complete the exam at any time during the June 16th to June 28th window. So as long as it's done by June 28th, we are not picky on when you do it. You don't even need to tell us. You can even do it in a bunch of little chunks. It automatically saves your progress as you go. And everyone, I regret to share that the time is now 5:59 p.m. Central Time, which means we've reached the end of this information session. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you for giving us this hour of your time, and I hope this was productive. If I wasn't able to answer your question, and I apologize for the many of you that I wasn't able to reach, feel free to follow up with us via email, admissions@nationalmathstars.org, or better yet, visit our website, nationalmathstars.org, where you can find the answers to many common questions that parents, children, and others have. So thank you all for your time. We're really excited for this summer and to get to know you and your children more, and we look forward to meeting you more soon. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.